Hi Gemini, welcome to your week ahead tarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Gemini, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general reads. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So your key to the week this week is your card. You have the Lover's card, right? This is not only, yes, it's love, relationships and all of that, and I will talk about that for those of you that are interested, but the fact that you have your card as the key to the week means that you are in your own energy. This is a week where recalibration, realignment of self, where refocusing, rededicating yourself to yourself, right? As I'm recording this, it's the 3rd of February. So literally tomorrow, as you guys will, was it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. So it's Thursday today, which is my birthday. Love y'all. And so the day after, on Friday, when you're watching this, your ruler Mercury will actually be direct. Now, in a lot of ways, I kind of feel like for a lot of you, this has really given you time to look very deeply into who you are, into what you believe, into maybe where some of that stuff is now, you know, getting the better of you, or getting or needing to be cleansed out in some way, shape or form. Now, the Lover's card does talk about love, it does talk about relationships and partnerships, but this also suggests that this is a time where not only are you getting reacquainted or realigned within yourself, but you're really starting to understand what you need from a partnership, like how you really want and need to show up. Like this is, and how you want and need your partner to show up for you as well. There's like some really, really deep digging around in this space this week, and I think this could be a really great week for it. If you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. For your actions and options, you have the 8 of Pentacles, right? So this is making new choices and decisions when it comes to your work. So for some of you, this could be taking work in a different direction. This could be deciding to do the work on yourself that maybe you know you have neglected. Maybe this is you getting really clear or really aligned with where work, your profession, your career is all starting to take you. If I'm honest, there is a sense this week that you might be listening to something on the material plane when it comes to the profession or the career that only you can hear, that only you can really kind of see. It's like one of the things about your sign that I love is the ability to recognize patterns, right? And so pattern recognition is something that Virgos and Gemini do very, very well. Why? Because you're both ruled by Mercury. This could also be that this week you're spotting a trend in your work history that helps you really start to anticipate where you should be taking your work or your career. Now, for your communications and conversations, you've got the 8 of Swords. 2 8s, 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords. 2 8s represents new knowledge, right? This is new knowledge, new information that's coming in. One of the beauties of Gemini energy is you guys can change your mind at the drop of a hat when you have new information. That's actually a really powerful skill to have just as a human being. Forget being a Gemini, right? And there are so many people in the world that are unable to do this. This week, it looks like you're getting some sort of new knowledge, some sort of new information that is going to change your outlook on your work, on your profession, on your career. This is all about this so far, which is really interesting. Now, the 8 of Swords itself, especially because it's with the Lover's card, this week you may find in partnerships, in connections, in collaborations, you might find it hard to get a word in edgeways, or, which for a Gemini, by the way, is very rare. But one of the things that you might find this week as well is that you feel a lot more called to listen than you do to speak. All right. Now, you've got this underneath the Lover's card. There could be conversations with, you know, personal or intimate partners this week that maybe kind of reveal to you where a relationship is starting to stifle. Now, for those of you that are employed by somebody else, this is very likely to reveal to you where there is no longer room for growth. You might, and it might come like a really sudden realization. You might have a moment where you just kind of think, well, shit, you know, I've hit the ceiling here and unfortunately there's no going forward. When it comes to those of you that are self-employed, business owners, etc., this, and I can relate, I can totally sympathize. This looks to me like this week you are maybe enmeshed in a project that seems to have taken on Herculean perspectives. I gotta say to you, it is the Eight of Swords, and one of the things that I love about this card, you know, for all of its heavy meanings, this card represents where you have to show up, where you got to find that grit and you got to be in it for the long term. So I will say this to you, for those of you that are self-employed, whatever project you're working on at the moment and you're like, oh, I'll get to it. No, you'll get to it now. That's what's being demanded of you. So, not me. Them, they, all of that, right? Like, this is the time for you to show up with this. You've got to dig in, you've got to have that grit, and you have to keep going. You're in this for the long haul, and now it's time for you to start thinking about it that way. Now, that's not an easy energy for Gemini people, because Gemini is a mutable sign. It's movable, it's changeable, it's air, it's mutable air, which is like the epitome of air itself. It moves, it flows, it needs freedom, it's curious. This week, you might have a moment where you're like, okay, this project is really going to demand me to stand rigid, to stand still and do what needs to be done. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, quite honestly, again, this whole thing about not feeling like you're growing, but you might realize this week, maybe it comes through a conversation, maybe you have a conversation with someone and you think, wow, and this is again a rare occurrence. You might think to yourself, wow, I don't have any information on this, or I don't really have anything to contribute. And so maybe this forces you to say, okay, it's time for me to learn something new. It's time for me to study something new, or gain some new insight, or new knowledge, new information, new perspectives. For your love and relations, you've got the Five of Swords. So I'm going to be honest, it does look like, excuse me, for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, there are going to be some challenges when it comes to the relationship. There are going to be some tough conversations that need to be had. This Five of Swords underneath the Eight of Pentacles with that Eight of Swords there, the work does look like it's impacting the home this week, right? So whatever happens at work, try to keep it contained there. And if you can't, then you're going to have to find a way to navigate that. One of the things with the Five of Swords as well, for those of you that are single, quite frankly, it could be somebody that really rubs you up the wrong way this week, that actually catches your eye, that has that sort of, you know, sparkle or twinkle that sort of attracts you. But for love relationships that are established, this could be a little bit of a rocky week. There's nothing here that suggests it's a break or, you know, the end of a relationship, but it is a rocky week because communication is somewhat skewed, which is interesting because this is, you know, for well after, well, not well after, but well after, you know, Mercury's gone direct. For your money and materials, you have the Empress card. So you working on increasing that abundance, y'all. All right, which is great. You've got this underneath the Eight of Swords, right? So it's the long-term plans that bring the finances, that bring the money. This week you will be comfortable. You'll have everything that you need, but don't let that comfort zone stop you from pushing for wherever else it is that you're looking to expand or looking to grow. And I've got to be honest with you, this whole week feels like the external is doing this and the internal is doing this. So somewhere you're going to have to find that balance, right? The Empress card, when it comes to money, suggests that you are spending money on things that make you feel good, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you're doing that, is going to ensure that you can continue to see certain things that are in motion at the moment through. That is where your money is best spent this week, right? And I will say this to you, obviously don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, if you spend your rent or your mortgage money on, I don't know, a pair of diamond earrings, then yeah, you know, that's not going to help you, right? What I'm saying is enhance your experience on the material plane so that you can continue to push on, right? As an example, if you have a massage once every 4 to 6 weeks, you can continue to train your body really hard and really well, right? When it comes to your physical health and vitality, speaking of, this is a great card for anything like this. Anything that requires determination, grit. It looks like some of you are starting to consider doing maybe like tournaments and stuff. And it's weird as well. Like, I know you probably wouldn't associate that with the Empress, but I'm getting that because it's very closely aligned with that Eight of Swords. And you've got the Lovers card there. It's like you're choosing to do something that requires grit. Tough Mudder, Iron Man, what are they? There was another one that I wanted to do and I can't remember the name of it, but you know, all of those really hard sort of assault courses that really are, you know, taxing. Some of you could be going into this or certainly starting to train for one. When it comes to your home and environment, you literally couldn't ask for a better card. This is Venus's blessings, right? This is Venus giving you all of those blessings and all of that love in the home sector. It kind of feels like the communication will be the thing that upsets the home this week. And you know, you're having to find ways to counterbalance that. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.